Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to another Project Life Process video. In this video, I'm working on week 7 from 2017. So the first thing that I'm doing is cropping down my photos. So the page protector that I used on the right side from week 6 was Design K from Becky Higgins, and it had the 3 4x4s on the top and in the bottom, and then in the middle it had the 3x4 slots. So I knew that I was going to be working with that page protector when I went to print out my photos. And the reason why I printed full 4x6 photos is because I've realized that when I print a cropped 4x4 picture and I'm trying to print it borderless, it makes the photo a little bit bigger to compensate for being borderless. And I didn't want to crop the photos down even more. So I just went ahead and printed those as a 4x6 and printed those down. And of course, that would then give me the option to maybe change photos if I wanted to go ahead and do that. But I was pretty sure I wanted those photos there. And I put the text on my photos accordingly, knowing that I was going to be cropping those down. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want to start with this layout. I definitely had several things picked out. This was the week of Valentine's, so I had a couple cards from Studio Calico picked out, like the heart one. My title card right there that has all the hearts that also came from Studio Calico, but I think it was maybe from the December kit. It wasn't from the February kit. And the breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner that came from an Allie Edwards. I believe it was from A Day in the Life kit. It could have been from Week in the Life. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I had a few things pulled out already that I wanted to use. So now I'm grabbing that breakfast, lunch, snack card, and I decided instead of writing it out or trying to print it out on my computer, which I could have easily done, I decided to grab over my typewriter. I'm definitely trying to use that as much as I can. Sometimes I feel like it's a big pain. I don't feel like I've necessarily mastered it. And in this instance, I wish I had done, instead of going from one box to the next, I wish I had done one line at a time so I didn't have to try and figure out if I was on the same line. I do like the typewriter. If I were to do a review on it, I actually really like the typewriter. I feel like the tape dries out really quickly. Like what is being typed down is not actually really black. It's kind of a dark gray, which is fine. It just shows me that it's kind of drying out, and I don't know how to make it so it doesn't dry out, if that makes sense. If anyone has any tips for me, I would love that. So I'm definitely trying to get my feel for it, and trying to, I've figured a few things out where each little tick is like the size of the alphabet, and you can count backwards from the center to get something centered or to figure out exactly where you want it. But other than that, I feel like I'm sort of making it up. And so far, I've been okay, especially with cards like that are already printed and you only have one shot to do it. I feel really fortunate. I just take it slow, make sure that I print it or spell it correctly, because that's something I would probably do wrong. And, just do the best I can and not worry if I mess up. So anyways, if you guys have any tips and tricks about the typewriter, I would love to hear it. Okay, so this card that I'm working on right now, that came from Studio Calico, and I actually saw, I think, on Instagram. I apologize, it's a while ago. The kit came out a few weeks ago, but I actually saw someone do a card just like that with the XO, and I thought it was super cute. And I wanted to use that. So those letter stamps came from the February kit as well as that heart card. So I'm just trying to look for other cards that I might want to add. I'm definitely thinking about cards that I could journal on and what stories that I want to tell from this week. I definitely want to tell a Valentine's story, although that breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner card is from Valentine's. It talks about kind of the food that we ate that day, because it feels like it was based on food for sure. So I'm really just trying to figure out what cards to put down based on the stories I want to tell. So that's kind of what's going through my mind as I'm looking through cards and moving them around. So I'm pulling over these these Allie Edwards stickers, and I decided to put them on top of each photo. I love these stickers. They came in a bundle and they have several different colors. But they are the exact same phrase. They're just printed on different colors, but I love them. And I would, they go so well with Project Life or any of those type projects that you're going to be working on. So I would definitely suggest them. You can find them on her website. I don't believe they're sold out, so I will link them below. But it's such a great deal for all these word phrases. So I was just going through and looking at the phrases that I thought would work really well with the story that I told. I felt like there was a lot that I had to say this week, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to print on the photo. Like I say a lot, it's a balance between how I want to deal with my photos and how I want to tell the stories with my photos. You'll see in the next week 8 coming up. I don't want to spoil anything too much, but you'll see that instead of typing on it, that I'll add journaling with cardstock. So I don't know. I really just like to mix it up, and then it really just depends on how story heavy my weeks are. Of course, it feels like every week has a lot of stories that I really want to share. Some are, shorter, and some are a little bit longer. Seems like my little bit longer stories, I tend to make 3x4 cards, so I can tell them in that way. All right, so I'm going to be moving on and doing some of the journaling now and telling some of my stories. So you've seen me do this every week. So lately, I've been cutting out a 3x2 piece of paper and then adding that to the photo so that I'm not wasting an entire 4x4, or a 3x4 card. And that way I can get more, I can tell more stories with less paper. So that's what I've been doing. I just am looking for a pen that will work. I need to find a really good pen. I've been using these felt pens and I like them, but I feel like they get worn out really quickly because I use them so much. So if you guys have any suggestions for maybe a fountain pen, I don't know, something a little bit different. I'm looking for something that's maybe not a felt. So right now I'm working on my title page, my title card, and I decided that I would just cut out a small piece of cardstock and then add the date right on there. And then once I'm done with that, you'll see that I go ahead. Well, I wanted a little bit something more. And so after I tape it all down, you'll see that I'm going to add a line around it. So I typically do that when I feel like it needs a little bit of grounding or it needs to stand out a little bit more. And so that's kind of what I was going for. I felt like I put it right around the yellows and I felt like it needed to stand out a little bit more. So I just added the line right around there. And I was really happy with that, especially because I add another element to the layout that is very similar to that. So again, I'm just kind of working through what stories I want to tell. And luckily, the card that I had used the week before in week 6 had this printed on the back. So I was able to use it. And I thought this card actually went really well with the layout in that placement, because that's the only thing that's hard. I actually really love when you can use both sides of the card, but then you can't move it around in your spread and you can't move it to a different location if you feel like it would work better somewhere else. So that's the only drawback to it, but I thought it worked really well where it was. And I was really glad that I was able to use it, because lists are a really great thing for just being able to get more little stories told, little bits and pieces. Like I think one of them was about how my daughter had an interview for a job, or this could have been the week that she actually got the job. I can't remember, but just little bits that tell more of the story, but it doesn't have to be like a completely in-depth story. So I really like, you can see the backside there, that it worked out that I was able to use both sides. It's definitely a win-win. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over my stash. This is stash of my Studio Calico cards, probably from November to February, and I'm just going ahead and looking through the cards. So things that I'm looking for because I have like 1, 2, 3, I had like 4 spots, and I had some ideas for stories that I wanted to tell, but I know I'm definitely looking for 2 cards that I could add, 2 or 3 cards that I could add journaling to, and then maybe like a filler card. So I didn't really, I mean, I guess I had the heart. So I'm just trying to find a balance between the two. If I have more stories, I'll have less filler cards, but I do like to add them from time to time. I like to add them because I think it can add some interest and some contrasts to the layout. So that's kind of my thought process behind there. So if you're interested, I actually do keep my Studio Calico cards different from other cards, let's say like from Ali Edwards. So I keep them separate, and I kind of remember a little bit what came in the kit. I mean, not exactly, but I can kind of remember, oh yeah, you know, that there was one from January, and I can only do that for like a few months back, but for whatever reason, I felt like just grabbing over those Studio Calico cards. So that is what I did. So I wanted to put in the center February 14th because all that information, the breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner came from Valentine's. But once I grabbed that label because I had it. It was sitting out. But once I used it, I thought it seemed a little too bold. I didn't really like it. And then I decided that why not just match the title card? So then I just used my date stamp and stamped it and did the exact same thing where I outlined it and then just put it right in the center. So then I would have a date and I would know, you know, which date that was from. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a journaling card with this pattern paper. I wanted to tell the story of my daughter's dance competition. I really liked the hues in this card. I liked the geometric nature to it, so I wanted to use it. And it's always hard, I feel like, to cut up a card, but in this instance, you know, when I know that there's like, if I cut it up, then I can use the other piece, then I kind of feel a little bit better about it. So I just went ahead and cut it not directly in half. I think that was like 1.5 inches that I added to the top there, and then just went ahead and added my journaling about her dance competition. Definitely going to be seeing more of those dance competition pictures coming up because that was the first one of the season. So I'm just shuffling cards around like I typically do. And I remembered that there was this Valentine that my daughter got from someone in the neighborhood, from one of her leaders. I thought that that would be a fun thing to add. And I loved it because they heat embossed in gold that stamp. So I thought it would be a really cute thing to add just so you knew right off the bat that it was the week of Valentine's. And I was looking for something to put, an embellishment to put on top of that, on that journaling card that I had made. And I saw those puffy stickers from Studio Calico that said, "You got this," which I thought went really well. So I decided to add that to the top. I was trying to decide maybe if I should do a heart or something, but I saw that and I thought that that went really well. And the color worked out perfect too. I love when that happens, when everything just kind of goes your way. So the last journaling card that I decided to add, this was just a little bit about the weekend and spending some time with my daughter Tess and my husband. I really enjoy the opportunity to get some one-on-one time with them, especially because they are so busy. And then, of course, they love spending time with their friends. So I find it's really awesome, I guess I should say. I really appreciate the time that I get to spend with them now that they're older and they could choose other things. I'm grateful that they choose to spend time with me. So that's why I added the SAT obviously stands for Saturday. So I was glad to be able to get a little bit more of the letter stickers in there. I wish I had added it one more time, but not enough to make me want to go back and do something about it. So the last thing that I am working on or wanting to add to the spread is this Valentine. So this is the Valentine that my husband made for me, and I wanted to add it to the book. And I grabbed out, I think this was an 8x10 photo sleeve that I grabbed out, and I just decided to cut off the top. Then I had a letter that my sister-in-law sent to me that I thought was really awesome and appropriate, something I wanted to remember, and then another Valentine that I received. So the reason why I didn't add the Avery tab to that insert like I normally do is because I've ran out. So I've ordered them on Amazon, and hopefully I will get them soon. So I'll do that when that shows up. All right, you guys, this is the spread for this week. Thank you so much for watching and being here. I know that you only have so much time, so I appreciate you spending them with me. Like always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you are new to my channel, hello. If you would like to see more of my Project Life process videos, please hit subscribe. All right, you guys, we will catch you in the next video. Bye.